everyone, my name is Kendall Venters, and my topic is in theater, particularly musicals. So, the current event that I found online has to do with mental health, musicals, and how those types of musicals can affect not only the performers, so the actresses or the actors that are involved in the productions, but as well as those effects on the audience members who are viewing these mental health related musicals. So, let's go ahead and get started. So I first wanted to start with just an introduction to theater pertaining to musicals and what exactly they are. So musicals are a form of storytelling entertainment in the theater industry, and they combine a lot of different elements. So obviously, when we think of musicals, the first word that comes to mind is music. But within these musicals, there's obviously actors and actresses, tons of different special effects in order to give the musical a lot of creative edge and um, connectiveness to the audience, as well as a lot of different choreography, so dance moves, and obviously songs, singing. A lot of common themes that run throughout musicals are horror, tragedy, loss, love, and tons of other categories too that you see in some of these number one Broadway shows. Within the past couple of years, mental health related musicals have become a number one hit within the theater industry. Obviously, within the past 2 years, the theater industry has taken a pretty hard hit from COVID 19 because it does involve large gatherings of people, and with New York being a hotspot for COVID as well as the hotspot for Broadway, a lot of these shows have been canceled or postponed over the past few years and months because you can't meet the COVID 19 guidelines right now for it to be safe for everyone to gather. But a lot of different musicals that are number one hits right now have to do with mental health. So there are a ton of different mental health musicals right now on the market. These can include Dear Evan Hansen, which is a really big one, Next to Normal, and Heather's the Musical. So mental health is just a growing topic of discussion throughout society right now in general. I think it's just something that more people are becoming comfortable with talking about. Um, and one of the things that this current event that I'm about to introduce to you in the next slide talks about is mental health related musicals and the effects that they have on the characters, the people who are playing the characters, so the actors and the actresses, and then as well as the audience members who are sitting and watching these musicals. So, the current event that we're going to be focusing on today stems from this clinical psychologist at the University of Minnesota named Michelle Sherman. And Michelle Sherman wanted to learn more about how mental health musical productions impacted the theater professionals working with them. So, these are the actors, the actresses, the directors, anyone who works behind the scenes to help put these grand musical productions together. So she conducted a study to reveal these effects, and within her study, she interviewed 15 musical professionals, evaluated the results. The final study was published in May of 2021, and it was named The Shining a Spotlight on Issues of Mental Health in Musical Theater in Ways Psychologists Can Help Perspectives of Theater Professionals. And what she found in this study actually seemed to be pretty shocking, and we're going to get into this within the next couple of slides and talk about how it pertains to marketing. So, Sherman's study actually sparked a lot of debate in the theater industry about the pressure that these performers are put under, as well as just how they're treated. So, obviously, these performers put a ton of work into how they perform on stage. They want to embrace the character almost as if they're living the character through real life. And in order to do this, they have to combine their personal life with their work life, which can sometimes overlap and create a hazed line of what is real and what isn't. So, like I said before, this study raised a lot of awareness for mental health in performers and audience members as well watching these mental health related plays. And the reason why this is important is because it brings about that awareness to a topic that we weren't talking about, to a topic that we didn't even know existed. And this can affect marketing because marketers who are working to get these musicals out there to the consumer have to consider a couple questions in order to make sure that they're marketing the product in an effective way to the target audience. So, just a couple questions that marketers might have to consider is how are these performances perceived by the consumer? How are these performances consumed by the consumer? And how can marketers use all the knowledge that we're going to talk about in the next couple of slides to target the consumers in a proper way. So, the first effect that these mental health related musicals can have on marketing pertains to the way that people view mental health in society right now. So, like I said before, it is becoming a more comfortable topic for people to talk about, and a lot more people are opening up about their personal struggles with mental health. And because of this, a lot of people discourage the use of mental health as a marketing tactic, even though a lot of marketers try to use this in order to engage with their consumers. So, obviously, sensitive content is portrayed through these mental health related musicals, and with that, can be triggering for audience members or the target market who's going to be watching these. So, this is just something that marketers have to keep in mind in order to be respectful and avoid any type of insensitivity when marketing these productions. So, another effect that these types of mental health related musicals can have on marketing pertains to how the marketers are going to spread awareness. So, like I said before, we're not wanting to offend our consumers who struggle with mental health issues as well, but we're simply trying to spark a conversation. So, mental health focused musicals are created to begin with to inform, to spread a message about something that society doesn't like talking about. So marketers must employ different strategies in order to demonstrate this information, and sometimes this causes them to have to tiptoe around offensive phrases just to ensure that the target market is understanding the play in the proper form and isn't going to become offended by, anything that could be shown within the musical production. So, the last effect on marketing that I want to talk about stems from a statistic that I found online. So, this statistics comes from a website, the National Alliance of Mental Illness. And I wanted to share this just because I thought it was super interesting. So, it says 21% of U.S. adults experience mental illness in 2020. That's 52.9 million people. And 16.5% of U.S. youth aged 16 to 17 experienced a mental health disorder in 2016. That's 7.7 million kids who are experiencing mental health disorders. I just thought that was super eye opening, and why I think it's so important to the marketing industry, particularly to this mental health related musical industry, has to do with the four C's of marketing, two of them in particular. So I want to talk about content and I want to talk about consumption. So content is obviously the product, and this product in particular is pretty sensitive because it pertains to mental health. So this is something that marketers have to keep in mind when they are marketing this product to their target audience. Another thing is consumption. So obviously this is how the target audience is going to be viewing the production, and sometimes audience members can experience emotional discomfort while watching these musicals because they have their own personal feelings that are portrayed in the characters. So once again, this is just something that can trigger audience members, and because of that, marketers have to keep that in consideration. Overall, I think these mental health related musicals are a great way, especially in the theater industry, to express the impact of mental health issues on society. I think they should definitely pay more attention to their performers and their productions and how the theme of the production, whether it's mental health or not, has to play onto the actual performers who are working on it. Musicals bring a lot of attention and spread awareness for a ton of different issues, not just mental health. So, with that, marketing experts must pay close attention to how they market to the target audience in order to avoid being insensitive, disrespectful, exclusive, and just keeping all of that in mind. It can just lead to a lot of different challenges that will affect how effective the marketing really is for the production. The question that I wanted to leave behind for you to ponder on is, why can marketing tactics aimed at mental health be difficult to market to consumers? And obviously this was answered within the PowerPoint, but I think there are a ton of other different reasons too that you could probably find through research. And this doesn't just go for marketing musicals relating to mental health, but this could be really anything in the entertainment industry, music, movies, TV shows. There are so many things coming out now that relate to mental health because of how more comfortable it's becoming throughout society. So whatever your marketing that pertains to this really does consider a deeper thought in order to ensure that you're going to do it in the correct way.